The restructuring of the public sector will save government around $30 million a year. The president of the Barbados Economic Society weighs in on government's restructuring program. And the police making headway in identifying the decomposed body found yesterday.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, we're hearing that hundreds of public sector jobs from central government will be affected as government embarks on the restructuring of the public sector. However, the move will save government around $30 million annually. Senior technical advisor with the IMF to Barbados government, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, says modernization is now the focus of central government. He was updating the nation on the BERT program today in the central bank's Grand Salle.
The number that we're looking at is just low 800 in terms of public workers, split between, I think, about 250 in stenotypists, clerk typists, NTW 290 something, and the remainder from different areas. Now the focus, as the Prime Minister explained, is not about numbers, because if it's a numbers game, it's not consistent with the BERT program. It is about modernization and improving efficiency in the way we do things, looking at access areas and see if can we do better what we'll be doing. Underlying that is the fact that we have to move the public sector from this bloated, inefficient entity into a more streamlined, efficient entity for the 21st century.
Well, Dr. Greenidge explains the decision of who would be laid off was a meticulous process.
We went through the entire central government, this is central government only, and we look at each department, what they do, look at the workflow, the work processes, and ask the question, can it be done better? Are there efficiencies to gain? Can it be taken? Can we improve how we do things? And of course, look at posts which we will not have in the 21st century with digital technology, where all of us have iPhone, we type, we do our things, stenotypists, clerk typists. We also look at NTW. Remember, part of the BERT program is to empower workers. So there are things in the NTW where we ask ourselves, could this be better? Could this service be better done outside the MTW, owned by workers, in franchise, and then sell back to NTW?
Well, Dr. Greenidge says that state-owned entities will make up the rest of the displaced workers after the 800 go home from central government. However, he is hopeful when government rolls out its digitization of the public sector next January, many of those laid off can re-enter the workforce.
We are digitizing the public sector. That's at least roughly a 3-year program where many of these persons can find work. You have then Sanders coming on board, you have Ross University. We expect the private sector also grow at such a rate that people coming up with NTW places can find employment. Then there's the enfranchising component of modernizing those, enfranchising component that can occur from the same NTW, from the same transport board.
Dr. Greenidge says Prime Minister Mia Motley has made a commitment that every single person displaced will leave with a check.
Some were suggesting that it may be tough to meet that criteria, and the Prime Minister expressed that that's a line we can't cross. It's a hard line. So whatever needs to be done, whatever new resources needs to be found, we have to find them in order to ensure that persons walk away. Now, we would, in terms of financing that, it will have to come from the fiscal.
Well, Barbados will be moving to implement more legislation to tackle transnational organized crime. Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Attorney General, Yvette Goddard, says the new laws, when combined with existing ones, will boost the island's defense. Now, she was speaking at the opening of the Mutual Legal Assistance Workshop at the Courtyard by Marriott.
My government will be shortly considering bolstering the existing legislative efforts by introducing civil forfeiture legislation and strengthening criminal confiscation regimes against those persons who have been reasonably suspected of having gained these assets through illegal activity.
Director and founder of International Justice, Daniel Sutter, says the sessions will help to strengthen the regional and global anti-crime fight.
As for many places in the world, mutual legal assistance is grindingly slow. And what do we mean by mutual legal assistance? Well, it's in terms of the collection of evidence, investigative procedures, and the main reason why we are here today and tomorrow in relation to enforcing asset recovery.
The newly appointed board of the Broadcasting Authority will announce next month if or what new licenses will be issued. Chairman Dr. Alison Leacock says that matter and others are currently occupying the attention of the board. She was speaking just before a tour of the CBC with several board members this afternoon. Dr. Leacock adds that convergence, which is the integration of media and telecommunication services, is the biggest challenge the authority has to address. According to her, it changes the dynamics involved.
I think all of our traditional media houses are grappling with what is perceived as the competition from social media in particular. We have examples in the region where there are other media houses like the Gleaner and RJR that have merged, but it brings unique challenges, and there can be no question about that. I think the idea is that it also provides an opportunity for us to look at ways to be creative and dynamic and respond to that environment without compromising the standards that we expect for quality broadcasting.
And Dr. Leacock says the board intends to tour all the media houses and subsequently meet with each one to listen to their concerns and give them an opportunity to hear from the authority.
That's just the first step we see towards us engaging far more with the licensees so that the advancement of the industry is done with full knowledge of each of the licensees' issues, and that is why we will have a separate business meeting to address the issues that are common and those that may need divergence as appropriate, because this change and looking to the future has to be a collective approach.
Emergency and essential services now have a single platform to share crucial information with the public should the need arise. It's being made possible through an app called Bajan Alert. It was launched at the Barbados Water Authority's headquarters this afternoon. Now, the app will be free for essential service providers and was developed to reduce the spread of fake news in time of crises. Executive Director of Bajan Alert, Kimar Safri, says they're hoping to have 30,000 downloads by the end of the year, and he explained the features of the app.
Bajan Alert is an innovative app designed to provide Barbados with a free platform which enables subscribers to receive notifications directly to their personal cell phone, whether at home, on the road, or traveling around the country from agencies such as Department of Emergency Management, Royal Barbados Police Force, the Fire Service, Barbados Water Authority, and many more. This app allows users to get not only on-time alerts regarding national issues, but credible alerts from the key departments who deal with these issues on a daily basis.
Director of Public Affairs in the Prime Minister's office, Pat Paris, has given the app her stamp of approval. She commended Mr. Safri and his team on the development of the app.
I will be looking out to see the alerts that will go to Barbadians right across, because people need to know what is happening so they can plan. So if my garbage will not be collected in 2 weeks, please let me know. I will store my stuff in the freezer and I will bring it out at the appropriate time. Yes, ma'am. Likewise, if my water is going to be off, please let me know so that I can make provision and catch water.
We're also hearing tonight that police have some clues as to the identity of the decomposing body found along the Cummins section of the ABC highway around 9:30 yesterday morning. Acting Public Relations Officer Sergeant Michael Blackman says a national registration card was found on the body, which was clad in a t-shirt and boxers. The card bore the name Timothy Leroy Daniel, 70 years old, of Suttle Street, St. Michael. Now, he says police reports indicate that Timothy Leroy Daniel was reported missing since September 29th this year and has not been traced. He says they're continuing investigations to have a positive identification of the body. Parents of children diagnosed with asthma are being encouraged to do a better job of managing their condition. This advice from nursing officer in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, Andrea Scott. At this time of year, the hospital usually sees an influx in the number of asthma sufferers seeking treatment. But Ms. Cox says some parents fail to show up for doctor visits or have their children or give their children medication.
We always advise them to stay away from things like smoke and dust. We have a lot of persons in the community burning fires, and we try, as much as possible to desist them from doing such. From flowers, certain cats and the pets in the home, carpets as well, and even some of the foods with dyes. And we encourage our children to use their inhalers as much as possible and to adhere to their doctor's visits. We have sometimes children, or parents I should say, are really non-compliant, and being non-compliant can be a big challenge for us.
Well, Ms. Scott was speaking during a presentation to the pediatric unit where 15 children are being cared. The items donated included 2 fans, a bumper pad, and a hamper with essential baby items. HR coordinator Sasha Maynard says they were bought with the proceeds from a fundraising cricket match.
We would have also collaborated with the United Enterprises Credit Union, and they would have offered the winning prize to the cricket team of $500 in terms of a donation. Purity Bakeries then would have decided to match that figure, and our employee engagement committee, which comprises of myself and a few other members that are here, we decided we would do some research and make that contribution to the children's ward.
Well, government has a vision to see Barbados become a world leader in the financial technology or fintech sector. The Ministry of Education has partnered with the John Maxwell Global Youth Initiative to make this a reality. Banking regulatory expert Reverend Dr. Patrick Tanis says the University of the West Indies is preparing to roll out a master's program in blockchain technologies, but that's only the beginning.
We've created a master's program there. We had the top blockchain code writer, Haskell, Professor Haskell, to come and his team. And we had students at the University of the West Indies from several countries across the globe, Argentina inclusive, Japan, as far away as Japan, being here in Barbados. We're going to have a master's course, and then those opportunities are going to lead to jobs. We want to work it all the way back to secondary schools with the curriculum. So we're going to be working closely with the curriculum folk. Barbados is going to be the best of the best of the best in fintech.
More must be done within the education system to ensure a spirit of innovation is fostered among the country's young people. This is according to Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Dr. Rommel Springer. He says schools must help students become business savvy so they recognize their artistic creations as a source of capital. In doing so, he hopes to do away with the notion of the struggling artist.
When our students do demonstrate innovative thinking, as we will surely witness today, then our system must be embedded with the competencies to move these innovative ideas along to the levels of patenting and capital earning capacity. Arts for art's sake, while continuously valuable, must in the 21st century also transition to art for wealth creation.
Dr. Springer was speaking during the opening of the Youth Art and Innovation exhibition at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. It gave students a chance to display their talents in several disciplines, including visual arts, music, and hairdressing. The exhibition forms part of the ministry's activities for Education Month. Despite concerns about the youth across Barbados, some of them continue to set positive examples for their peers. 2 local students have come out on top in the Lions Club's District 60B essay competition. District 60B includes over 60 clubs in the English-speaking Caribbean. Past president of the Lions Club of Barbados South, Lion Corliss Weeks Grisette, says the winners were chosen from a pool of entrants from across this district.
It was an essay competition on volunteerism and its importance. And the top persons were 2 students of Harrison College that won in that essay competition.
The 2 Harrison College students placed second. Joshua Agard and winner Matthew Weatherhead were presented with their awards by Council Chair for District 60B, Lion Sherwin Greenidge, and that was during the club's 2nd zone meeting for the year. The academic capacity of Class 3 students at the All Saints Primary School has been significantly boosted through the provision of tablets. 73 of them received the devices presented by the Aaron and Christina Trust Foundation. The donation was compliments British donor and St. Peter resident Andy Stewart. Well, he, along with Minister of Labour and Social Partnership Relations and MP for St. Peter, Colin Jordan, were present to deliver the Kindle Fire tablets. According to founder of the foundation, Aaron Trust, without access to technology in the classroom, students would be placed at a great disadvantage in the workplace.
The reason we present to the entire Class 3 students is that we feel that that is the best way for the tablets to be used in the classrooms and to be incorporated into the curriculum. And we really hope that your teachers will find uses for them in the classroom. They can be used even to look up words, they're educational games, they come with a camera, you can take photos, videos for projects. There are all those educational benefits.
And Minister Jordan echoed similar sentiments, encouraging the students to use the tablets to aid in their development. He says the St. Peter's School has a proud legacy.
Mr. Owen Arthur went to school here. Former Commissioner of Police went to school here. Former Chief Fire Officer went to school here. Many people who have done very well when they became adults got their foundation while they were here. So I want to encourage you, learn. For those of you in Class 3, use the tablets wisely. And when you do all of that, you will become good adults, good citizens, contributing to your country.
Well, they say to whom much is given, much is expected. And this was the reminder to newly installed prefects of the Grantley Prescott Memorial Primary School. Sharika Griffith has that story.
Before an audience of teachers, fellow students, and parents, 34 boys and girls received their badges during the ceremony at the St. Barnabas Anglican Church. Featured speaker Reverend Wayne Seal says being a prefect means being called to a place of trust, but he also cautioned students against abusing their new powers.
Some of you are going to be asked to go and maybe sit in a class if the teacher is not there. Maybe you're going to be asked to help the children to stay in the line. You're going to be helping them and asking of them to do things the right way and do the right things. That's a great responsibility. And that responsibility is not one for you to abuse. That responsibility is not for you to be bossy and to boss around the other children, okay?
Acting Principal Belinda Martindale says it's always a joy to watch students who have been nurtured and groomed mature and take on new responsibilities.
As educators, we feel a sense of contentment that all is not lost with our youth when we can find amongst the student population those who have displayed not only the qualities for leadership, but who also illustrate by their attitudes and behaviors that they have taken heed to their lessons seriously, lessons in academics and spiritual and moral guidance.
Ms. Martindale also commended parents and guardians for ensuring their children are suitably prepared for their new roles, even as she called for their continued support and guidance. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Barbadians will get the chance to view local mini-series Family Tree this week. The series has a cast made up of seasoned and amateur talent drawn predominantly from employees at the Central Bank of Barbados, as well as right here at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. Acting General Manager of CBC, Rod London, is very impressed by what he saw.
The pilot was well received when it was aired on Channel 8 in December 2012. Viewers found the storyline intriguing and were delighted to see reflections of themselves on local television in situations they could relate to. After all, the generational quest and fierce battle for land occurs in the best regulated families. And I understand that a number of the derelict homes seen across our landscape are reminders that this quest continues even today. I'm sure many of you in here tonight know a family who is fighting over land, which makes the Family Tree series something we can relate to.
Mr. London was speaking during a private screening of Family Tree at the Frank Cullimore Hall over the weekend. The series is the brainchild of script writer and producer Betty Holford, a retired research officer at the CBC. She was given special recognition during the screening, along with videographer Nicholas King, for his dedication to its production. One of the lead actresses, Sadie Dickinson, says it showed the talent we have right here on the island.
We often encourage our people to write because some will say that there's a story in all of us, perhaps more than one story, and these stories need to be immortalized. It is for this reason that I am delighted, first of all, to congratulate Betty Holford on the creation, production, and direction of Family Tree. I also thank her on behalf of the cast for having the confidence in a bunch of, for the most part, neophytes, but eager and enthusiastic nonetheless.
The miniseries will air this Thursday at 6 p.m. CARICOM wants the various United Nations organs and agencies dealing with the problems associated with climate change to be properly funded. Barbados's permanent representative to the UN, Liz Thompson, made the call during the General Assembly's 73rd session. She says this is particularly critical for small island developing states, or SIDS.
CARICOM firmly believes that the allocation of resources to the work of the SIDS unit as well as the OHRLLS must be predictable, reliable, and sufficiently adequate to achieve real results. An overdependence on voluntary contributions presents a significant challenge to these entities in the execution of their intergovernmentally agreed mandates. In the more general context, sir, resources to address disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and critical resilience building are now not just desirable, but have been demonstrated to be essential and urgent.
Barbadians wanting to get a taste of Cuban culture will get the opportunity to do just that over the next few days. That's because Cuban musician Alfonso Lorenz and the Dynamics Band will be offering several free performances to the public. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the National Cultural Foundation, Andrea Wells, says the tour has been a long time coming.
We are in the middle of celebrating our national festival, and we recognize that part of our national identity is also our Caribbean identity. Cuba has had a long, friendly relationship with Barbados. As a matter of fact, it's now been over 32 years that Barbados and Cuba has signed a cultural cooperation agreement. And this exchange, this tour, is, we think, a great representation of that long cultural friendship between our two nations.
Ms. Wells was speaking during the official welcome over the weekend. She says in addition to the performances, which will take place at the Savannah Hotel, the band will be engaging local artists in discussions.
A lot of the work of the NCF is very much vested in the continual development of our artists. So there's a salsa dance masterclass, there is a training exchange with the BCC Cuban Music Study Group, and also a plan for a professional exchange of professional musicians examining the realities of work as an artist in the tourist market, both in Barbados and in Cuba. So we expect lots of wonderful things to come out of this trip.